back again. I think this will be our final video in this series. We are going to continue later. Don't worry. There are a lot of topics to cover, but then we are trying to break it down in bits. We are going to the intermediate after this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we are looking at futures. So as the name says, futures. Now when we say future, you can pretty much guess, like future is in the future, right? Something which is ahead of time. Okay, yeah, let's take it like that. In JavaScript, there are variants called promises, right? So you perform an action and then you wait for a response, and then you expect the response to be either this or that, and then you perform your action based on that. I mean, similar thing is in that, and we have futures. So you can actually create your function using futures if you know your function. Okay, let's look at it. The result of an asynchronous computation. An async or asynchronous computation cannot provide a result immediately when it is started, unlike synchronous computation, which does not compute a result immediately, which does compute a result immediately by either returning a value or by throwing an error or something. And asynchronous computation may need to wait for something external to the program, like reading a file, querying a database, fetching a web page, which takes time. Instead of blocking all computation until the result is available, the async operation immediately returns a future which will eventually complete with the result. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, so future, or let's create two functions. So function void, should I even say void? So what are we saying? It's a void function. So we are saying add numbers. Would that be add powers, something like that? Let's just create a function. So this function, we say print so something, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to see 20. How do we say raised to the power 5? So we are saying there be double result res is equal to 20. Does this work? Okay, let's just make it int is equal to, and then let's print this and then see. So what we are going to put this inside of this function, right? So instead of this, you are just going to delete all this and then call add powers. What function is this? Add powers. Alright, so this is just going to print this value down here. Okay, so do this 17. Wait, what am I doing? See, I'm finding this is a bitwise operator. How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I find powers? So I think it's the power function, and then the number is, let's say, 20 exponent 5. What am I getting? It's a number, so I can do this. So I can say double. No, double 2 will not do this. So var, let me just use var, so I can print it like this. So I do this, it prints the value here, right? So let's do something that takes like a really long times 35017. Okay, it's very fast. I mean, what is that? Okay, so let's do this. Future, sorry, dot delayed, and I'll say duration. Let's delay this by 5 seconds. So seconds 5. Okay, so what I'm doing here is that when I call this function, it should take 5 seconds. It should delay for 5 seconds before it moves to the next line. So when I do this, hey, why, my guy, why? Sorry. Then delay for 5 seconds and do this. Return this. No. So let me just use this instead. Good. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm just praying it works. So when I do this, you see we don't get the result instantly. We wait for 5 seconds before the value appears here. You get it? Okay. I think I'm doing this the wrong way. Okay, so while we are doing this, right? Now this future thing makes the whole thing asynchronous because you have to wait till some value is done. So let's just have something like this and then say print waiting, right? So let's see the two, I mean which of these renders first. So you see we get waiting, right? Before, when this 5 seconds is up, before this one executes or returns the values. So what we are doing here is that normally if you are not using a future, okay, this is going to take like 5 seconds. And what is going to happen in a language like VB or C#? I mean, let's just take any language in general. You see, the codes are compiled line by line, right? So they are run line by line. So this one runs and then this one runs, but this one is going to block the entire thread. It's going to block the entire process. Okay, so this one will execute until this is done. That is what we call the synchronous or the synchronous code. Normally that's how code is meant to be executed, but we don't want it like that. So let's say we want to show a progress bar or something. Okay, when the computation or the calculation is happening, then we can show it here, and then we can like we can return or remove it afterwards. Okay, so this is a basic example. Like you click on this, it waits. Now the waiting is happening. It has skipped this because this is not finished yet. So it finishes and then it brings the value. Okay, so we can add something like starting. So you click on this, see starting, waiting, right? It's executing this order, but then it waits till 5 seconds before this one comes later. So that's the basic idea of future. So we can create a future of our own by saying future, let's say add noise, right? And then this future should return a value, right? So I'll just say return. You can return. So you need to give it a type. So unless this is void, like we set this as void, then can we forget this? we can't even return void. Say return. Now this doesn't work. This doesn't work. Okay, so we can add async to it. So this async is telling us that the code is what? Asynchronous. So then we can use this thing called await. So the await simply means that we should wait for a function to finish and then return the value. We are going to go deeper into this async await thing later, but for now I just want you to know that a future is a function that waits or does not block the execution of other codes. So it waits till everything inside the function is done and then it returns the value. So while it is doing that, it executes the net values. Now, okay, I think it's okay. I'm confusing you, and I'll have a hard time clarifying myself later. So I'll just have to end it here. We look at, okay, I think there's one more thing we need to look at, and then I can let you go.